Hi everyone, it's craftytinas. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a pen gift box using the We Are Memory Keepers shadow box. This box holds a standard size pen, and I'm also going to make magnets using the We Are Memory Keepers button press. I'm going to make matching buttons to go in this box later. Because that's a button press, I will put that on another video. This video is simply going to show you how to make the box, the shadow box, the sleeve, and the 3D flowers. I'm also going to show you how to have a clear barrel pen, have matching paper inside. So the shadow box punch board is by We Are Memory Keepers, so we're going to be using that to make the box itself. This is the shadow box. Now this size on the outside is 3 inches by 7 inches, and that is not a size that is in any of the direction for this punch board. In order to get the dimensions for this box and other boxes that are not these 4 limited boxes on your board, just jump over to my Facebook page. I have a printout for you. It lists all different sizes of square and multiple sizes of rectangle. I also have a video prior to this one that shows you how to use the log and how to use the math to make any size shadow box you want. For this video, this will be the first time I'm showing you how to make a sleeve to fit any size shadow box. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to need is our chart. The outside of this box is 7 inches by 3 inches. The inside is 6 by 2. That's the very first measurement on here. The inside is 2 by 6. The outside is 3 by 7. So our paper size needs to be 7 by 11. This, the paper size column, is the only measurement you need to use this board. Once you start with this paper size, the finished results will be these sizes. Very simple, very basic. I don't know why We Are Memory Keepers limited you guys to just these 4 sizes. Maybe to see how creative you could be, or maybe they were just trying to keep it simple, because their sleeve only goes up for these 4 sizes. That's it. It doesn't give you any options to make the sleeve for multiple size shadow boxes. I don't know about you guys, but when I buy one of their punch boards, I want to be able to make tons of stuff with it. I want to get my money's worth out of this board, and that's what we're going to do. We are going to make enough projects using this board that we are going to be very happy with our purchase. So if you're on the fence about this board particularly, it's the shadow box. Make sure you check out all my videos so you can see what it actually can do, because if you go and watch the manufacturer's videos, it is limited to these 4 sizes. They don't show you how to make anything else. Now there are other YouTube videos with people like me that also like to get their money's worth, that also have videos, so you might want to check them out too. So let's get started. We need a piece of cardstock that is 7 by 11. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to make this shadow box. So taking a piece of cardstock that is 11 by 7, that is going to be our shadow box. This cardstock came out of a book. It is cardstock, not paper. So I took 2 sheets. I needed 1 sheet to get my 7 by 11. This is 7 by 12. We are going to use this for our sleeve because it is 7 inches. And I am using all 12 inches because we're going to make the sleeve fit around the shadow box. And once we have all the pieces, then we will cut it off. We are not going to measure this and cut it and then hope the score lines work out. Because again, remember, the sleeve for this board only goes up to 5 inches, and that's not good enough for us. We are going to think outside the box. So very, very easily, I have other videos on using this board. Please check them out if this goes too fast for you. We're going to take the 11 by 7 and we are going to score 4 lines on all 4 sides using this part of the punch board. Does not matter where you start because all 4 have to be done. You're going to line it up into the corner, and you're going to score the 4 lines that it gives you here on this board. Then you're going to turn. Now watch this. This is going to go off the board, but you only need to go as far as the board allows you to go, and I'll show you why when we get around to that corner. Don't go off the board. You'll rip your paper and your line will not be straight. Just go to the end of the board. You don't have to go any further. We're going to do the next size. And this is why I was telling you it doesn't matter. You only need to go to the last score line, which is right here. So by going all the way down, I'm going past that last score line. Because you're going to be punching those corners, you don't need the corners to have the whole score line. And that is for this particular size. This is an 11-inch. I imagine the 12-inch will be just fine too. See how my score lines stopped? I didn't need to continue them. Now that I had score lines, 4 on all 4 sides, I'm showing you the white side so you can see the lines. Now I'm going to use the punch feature. Now the punch feature, you're punching twice. So you're going to put it in there till it doesn't go anymore, just like a normal punch, and you're going to punch. I recommend using your palm, not your fingers. Keep it straight down. Don't shift it back and forth. This punch is relatively big, and a good way to wear out a punch, if you shift it too much, those sharp edges are going to hit each other, and over time it's going to dull it. Then you're just simply going to slide it because it allows it now to go further and punch again. And that's what you end up with. You are going to do the opposite side. So this is the same side. You're going to come to the other end by flipping it, punch, move over, punch. See, it did not matter that these lines going this way were there because you're absolutely cutting them off. Now that this side is done, top and bottom, I want to do this side, top and bottom, not this corner. I want to do this one. So I'm going to flip it to do this corner. Punch, slide, punch. And now I want to do this corner. So I need to flip it again. Lots of flipping, but after you do this a few times, it's really easy to remember what corner you need to do. So there are my punches. I have made my shadow box, and now all I need to do is assemble it. You have these cute little peas with score lines that are basically trash. Unless you use really small flower punches and you wanted to use the scraps for punches, you could always do that as well. I have glitter everywhere from our Christmas in July shadow box ornament. So if you see me picking something up off of here, it's because the glitter is bothering me. We're going to fold all of those lines inside. This is the inside of my box. You see here it is pink because I added a piece of 2x6 cardstock. So I have that to add inside of my box. So I want my pretty paper to be the border, the frame. So that is why I'm folding everything in. And you're just going to fold all the score lines, give it a nice good fold. It's cardstock, so you can be a little rough when you're creasing it. You can use, I don't do it because of the camera, I want to make sure we don't take all of your time. You can use your little scoring tool like you're supposed to and flatten out those edges so they're nice and crisp. But you need to do all 4 sides. And now I have folded all 4 sides. Now I'm going to go to the sides that have the points. I want to put double-sided tape, this is score tape, on the edge, from the edge of the paper to the score line. I want to put that on that edge. So I'm using 1/2 inch score tape, or It's not quite 1/2 inch. I think this might be 3/8. And it seems excessive, but I want my box to be very sturdy. And I want to do that on both sides that have the point. I do not want to go past that first score line. I want to keep it within the edge and the first score line. Once you have it down, pull your paper. You can also use glue. You don't have to use tape. I want to roll this into a box because this is my first side. So you basically roll it into a box, and then you can press this down so you can make sure that tape is nice and secure, and you still have your box. And that is the first step to making the shadow box. We're going to repeat that on the opposite side. We're going to take our double-sided tape. We're going to take the paper off. We're going to roll it to form a box. Now we have our other frame, and we can smash it down. And that is step 2, putting these cute little squares on each side. I know the camera makes them look like they're not the same size, but they're all 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch up, a 1/2 inch over, and a 1/2 inch down. So now let's do the ends. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to put our score tape inside the box. It's just something I found easier, but you may want to put it just like we just did the sides. And you're going to put that score tape inside the box, inside the little angled area, before the first score edge. So then we're going to take the paper off. We're going to roll that box. I'm going to try to do this where you can see what I'm doing. But we have to get the edges inside, the little mitered edges on both sides at the same time. It's not as difficult as it looks. I'm just trying to hold it up so you guys can see it. Once I know it's in there correctly, then I can mash the tape down. Now I want to put a little bit of glue on this corner and this corner so that when it goes underneath, it can attach to this mitered edge. So we're going to go put a little glue. This is not my favorite bottle. This doesn't quite do the little precision. But we've put just a little bit in each corner, and now I'm going to put it where it belongs. And this glue's not instant like my other one, so we just have to give it a second. Now the reason you're doing this is because it does hold without the glue, but it is not sturdy without the glue. And I want my gift box to be nice and sturdy, nice and firm. It has a good weight to it. It is a really good concept. So even though their instructions failed us, we can still be creative because we're crafty people, and we can make our own. And there you have it. That's our first, second, and third side. So we're going to do the fourth side just like this one. Before I do that, I'm going to put this inside. And that is because it's cut just so slightly that it fits underneath the edges. I didn't even have to glue this one down. And this was cut to a 2x6. But these edges come just slightly over it and makes it perfect. It just goes right in there. If you want to put some double-sided tape in there, you can. I didn't find it necessary, so I left it. I'm also very undecisive when I'm doing colors, so sometimes I want to change things. This would allow me to reach in there and kind of pry it up and put another color down, should I change my mind. So now we're going to go back to our tape, our double-sided, and I do believe this is 3/8, so it's slightly smaller than the 1/2 inch, which works really well because that means it's not going to hang outside. It's always going to be large, but inside. We're going to put down, pull our paper off, and we're going to roll this one as well, creating a box and then rolling it. I'll try to bring it up here so you guys can see it. We're going to try to roll it in. It is much easier than it looks on camera, guys. I don't want you to think that it's this it's this weird. I am trying to hold it and let you guys see it at the same time. And now we can push this down so that we can make sure that the adhesive is good. Now we're going to put the glue in this corner and this corner. Now that I have glue in both of those corners, I'm going to slide them in there, and I want to make sure it's nice and square and hold it for a few seconds. Now the reason I'm making sure it's nice and square is because I want this box to be square. This way my sleeve will fit on it better, it will look better, there won't be any gaps anywhere. But how cute is this box shaping up already, guys? Like, we have a really cool little box, nice flowers. It's got a hint of yellow in it. It's the reason I chose the yellow for the bottom. And I want to make my next flowers have a little bit of yellow in the middle of them to kind of accent some of the yellow that's in this pattern. So there is our shadow box, guys. It didn't take us no time to make. It's very sturdy, even though it's just flimsy cardstock. And it's really pretty. A word of wise, if you are using solid color for your actual shadow box, if your cardstock has a white core, which means the white inside where there's color on the top and the bottom, but the inside of your paper is white, when you do the folds, if you do them too much or handle them too much, you will have white creases along your fold lines. So you want to make sure that your cardstock is either a print. This is what I'm talking about. And it doesn't say here that it's white core, but if you looked on the edge, you would see that this is not blue. It's not blue all the way through. See the white? When you bend this and you score it, you're going to see that white crease. For some things, such as flowers, it gives it a nice look. But for things such as this, you're not going to like the result. Unless you're looking for the kind of worn out chic look, then that might be what you want. If you end up doing it and you don't like it, you can come back with a marker or ink and just run it along the edge, and it will get rid of that white for you. But this is what I'm talking about when I say white core, not solid. Some cardstock, such as this pink and yellow, you can see my flowers don't have white on them. This one does, but the light color one does not. And it's because of this inside. So it's just something to be aware of, because I don't want you to finish your shadow box and go, oh, well, she didn't tell me it was going to look all worn out. It's not the box, it's the actual cardstock. So now that we have our pretty box, let's make our sleeve. Now, it took me a little while to figure out the sleeve part, because in my head, I wanted to put it on a scoreboard and I wanted to score all the lines and be done. Because, hey, this is a 1/2 inch, so if I give it a 1/2 inch, this is 3, I'll give it 3, and then I'll give it a 1/2, then I'll give it 3 more, and then I'll give it a 1/2, and hey, I've got my shadow box. When I did that, it wouldn't fit. It was too small. Because you don't only need the 3 inch and the 1/2 inch. It has to be slightly bigger, or it won't go inside. If it's too snug, you won't be able to get your actual shadow box in and out. And I mean, it was so tight, like I was pounding it to get it in. So I had to figure out a workaround, but it's a very simple workaround, and it will allow you, it will be exactly what you need for any size shadow box. You're not going to have to memorize numbers or anything else. It's literally going to be, this is how you're going to do every single size. Unless it's these 4 sizes, you're going to do this every single time. So it's going to be really quick and easy, and you're going to love it. Okay, let's get started. We already know that it needs to be 7 inches because the sleeve needs to wrap around, and it can't be any bigger than our shadow box. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're still going to take into account this board is telling us that this is the tab space from this edge to this score line is this, with a 1/16 of an inch more. And that's the problem. This is an 1/8 inch scoring board. You can't get a 1/16 inch. They would be too close together. So we're going to use their marking here for the tab, but we're going to use our scoreboard for the actual 3 inches. So let me show you what I mean. And again, this board is not meant for anything bigger than the 5 inch. So again, we're going to improvise. We're going to put our 7 inch cardstock all the way up. It says the word sleeve here, and there is a score line right here. Let me turn it this way. There's a little notch here, and that's our score line. But as you can see, our score line would go off the board, and we don't want to do that. So then you just simply flip it over, put it back in the same place, and put the score line. It does not matter if it's indented on one side and on the other. You're going to fold that, and you just simply needed it to be compromised so you can fold it. So now I want to fold it inward because I want the color to be on the outside. And for this, I am going to use the scoring tool to make our creases nice, because we have to have them really good. Now I have this piece. I need to do this piece. This is 3 inches. So I'm going to come over here. This is the Works All-in-One board by We Are Memory Keepers. Any scoring board will work. I'm going to put my creased edge up against here, as tight as it will go with this folded down. Not up, down. As tight as it will go. And then I'm going to score at 3 inches because my box is 3 inches. And I'm going to fold it in. You can line up the edge before you make your crease. That keeps the box straight. And then I want to use the scoring tool to make sure we're nice and good, because the next thing I want to do is another tab. So I want to put this folded line as far up against this as I can, because I'm doing another tab line. Once it's all the way up, folded flat all the way up, I'm going to hold it, I'm going to open it, and I'm going to score as far as I can. Then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to bend it back all the way in, open it up, and score. And now I have my next side. Everyone with me so far? We have side 1, the back, side 2 already done. At this point, you can take your shadow box and check it. Does my shadow box fit? Yes, it fits perfectly, because we're using this, not a 1/2 inch on here. This is slightly larger than a 1/2 inch, but not enough to go to the next line, because I did try that too. I tried all kinds of things, guys. This really worked. Now we're ready to go to the next 3-inch piece. So we are going to put the last folded edge as tight as we can get it up to the edge, open it up, and score at 3 inches. And we are going to fold on that score line using our scoring tool again. So now we have a side, a top, a side, a bottom. We just need one more tab so we can put this tab to this tab. So let's go do one more tab. Again, we're going to lay it flat. We're going to the last fold we did. It's going to go snug all the way. Push it all the way, guys. Then hold your hand and then score. And I know this seems a little awkward. It was the first time I did it, but the second time I did it, I was like, wow, that wasn't so bad at all. We're going to fold that in. Sorry. I'm definitely going to get you guys confused. Here we go. Just needed to do the other side, so I wanted to make sure it's all the way against, and then open it up. Every tiny bit of adjustment makes a difference when you're trying to fit something onto another item. So now we have our next score line. We're going to fold that one, and it does help to make sure you line up the paper itself, keeping that box straight. We're going to do that. Now, guys, we have the actual box, and now we're ready to cut. We are going to cut on this score line. So because the works board, you simply flip this over, and now it is a cutting board. I didn't have to grab another instrument. And for the record, this board seems to cut really straight. Wow. I did not like that cardstock. I may have some vinyl. Oh, see, I have my blade was jammed. And that's why it is very important to always check your blade, because if it catches because it's jammed, it will do that. However, this is a tab, and now we can put that on the inside and you'll never see it. What I am going to do is I'm going to cut it smooth so when you're looking inside, you don't see a jagged edge. So now I know to put my adhesive on that side. And you learn from my mistakes. I don't edit my videos because every time I make something, something's gonna go wrong. And if I don't show you how to fix it, you're just gonna get frustrated thinking that you're the only one that does that. That is not the first time that's happened with this one. And every time it was something that was a user issue, not a performance issue from the actual board. Now we have our adhesive. Now, what I recommend is you take your shadow box, because if you got off the slightest bit with the shadow box, you don't want that to affect your sleeve. So our adhesive's on this side. So we're going to wrap this around our shadow box. And then close it up. And this will allow us to make sure that we allowed plenty of room for the actual fit of the shadow box. And just like that, guys, we have a wonderful shadow box and a sleeve. And I know that doing that sleeve may have sounded a little weird. Go back and watch the video again if I kind of lost you, because the steps going back and forth, I really feel like you'll be comfortable if you just see it a couple times. It took me making a couple, and then after that it was like, wow, okay, that's really easy. So now we have this really cute shadow box. And now it is up to you what side you want to put it on. There is a seam right here, so if you want that to be on the bottom, you can. I want it to be on the bottom because I like that all three colors are on the top. And I'm fixing to add some flowers to the top, and I really want that to show. So now we have our shadow box and our sleeve. I want to show you how to make your pen. You're going to need a skinny straw. These are the little flexible ones. They are not the smoothie straws, and they are not the straws you get in restaurants. These are Dollar Tree straws. You get a whole bag of 100. You're never going to use that many unless you make a lot of pens. Trust me, go get them. They fit so much better inside these. These are RSVP Pentel Fine Black pens. I don't like black ink, but I wanted the black to go with everything. If it was up to me, they'd be purple. So you're simply going to open and remove the ink. you're going to take a scrap piece of cardstock that matches your shadow box. From the black here past the screwed in area, and I'm just going to tear it because it doesn't need to be. I need this and a straw. And again, you're going to cut it to size in a few minutes. You just need it to be close. This is cardstock. It works better with scrapbook paper, but I can't use scrapbook paper to make this. So you can use cardstock. Just remember that it is very stiff and it's not going to roll properly. So along the edge of anything, so if this is the edge of your counter, you're going to manipulate this cardstock and kind of make it want to curve. See how it's curving? You want to make it do that. So on the edge, I'm sorry, I gotta come over here on the edge of my paper, on the edge of my desk, you want to make it curve the best you can. Because if you don't do that, it's going to leave fold lines, and you really want it to curve. So we're going to come back over here, and we're just going to make it do what we want it to do. And that's just rolling it along the edge. See? Once you get it going, it does much better. And I know we're flattening it back out, but that's okay because the memory of the paper is still there. We're going to take some score tape. You can use Mod Podge, you can use glue, anything you want that will adhere paper to plastic. For me, score tape and Mod Podge has been the best. And I'm going to put it on each end of the paper. This is probably a little too big, but we're going to go with it anyway. Now I'm wanting my edge to curl. I'm literally wanting to roll this up like you would roll up a newspaper to swat a fly. I want it to roll around my straw that is super skinny. So I'm going to take the paper off. I'm going to lay my straw at one edge to try to make it straight. And then I simply want that edge to stick really good to the straw. So I'm taking my fingers and just kind of making sure that it sticks. And then I'm going to keep rolling. And you kind of have to roll it all at the same time. So guys, I have to do it down here. If I can bring you down a little closer. You're going to roll that piece of paper and cardstock. If it was scrapbook paper, it rolls much better. Once you have it wrapped around, you want to make sure that edge is nice and secure against the paper. So even if you wanted to roll it, don't roll backwards, only forward. Just roll it on your desk to get a nice tight fit. Now, I'm going to trim up one edge. I'm going to put that inside my pen. And because I used a little bit too much cardstock, it is a little snug, but I'm going to just smack it in there. Once it hits that black, that's as far as it's going to go anyway. And then you can cut off the top of the paper. And after doing that, you can put your pen back inside. And now you have a really cute pen that is the same paper as your box. I am going to use the same paper, and I'm going to make me 2 magnets to go inside of mine because I love having matching gifts. And I don't know what I did with the 2 little magnets we had up here just a few minutes ago. They're still in the box. These don't match. These are from prior projects, but I want to put 2 magnets in my little gift box. And there is room because of the way the box is made. Now, I was going to try to make a skinnier box, but longer. But you see, I only would need like a 1/4 inch. I'd have to go up at least a 1/4 inch or a half to make the next size box. And I haven't tried one yet that was only 1 inch. That is my next adventure, is to try to make an even skinnier box. But for now, I really like this look. By the way, this box inside is not big enough for a gift card. I did check that out, and it is not big enough for a gift card, in case you were wondering. So now that I have this pretty little set, this one's all done up, It has the little flowers. Now I'm going to show you how to use paper punches. Let's bring you guys back up here. We're going to use paper punches this time, but you can also use die cutting, or you can use your silhouette or your Cricut, and you can cut out your flower pieces any way you want. But I wanted to show you how a simple flat flower can be anything but ordinary. So I love paper flowers, absolutely love them, but they are flat. And if I can go from this to this, oh, absolutely, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? So the first thing I want to show you is how I did this one, because these are different than these. This was very simple, very basic. I took one flower, two flowers, but I wanted two different colors. I'm using this and this. These are Martha Stewart punches, guys, and they are super old, so I'm not sure they sell them anymore. This is a very flat flower. I simply reached underneath and rolled the flower. Just put it between your thumb and your tool and have those petals roll forward and stand up. So now all those petals stand up. I then took the small flower with the little 5 petals, and I did the same thing to each of those petals because I wanted all of those little petals to stand up. I didn't want them to be flat, so you just basically shape them. Add a dimensional dot. I don't know what these are. They're like double-sided foam with adhesive on both sides. When you add one to the center, you have a 3D flower like this. You add another 3-dimensional on the back and a rhinestone on top, and you have this gorgeous little flower. But that wasn't good enough for me. I had to place some more. I really like this punch. I like the shape and the look of it, but I don't like that it's flat. Another thing I did for this flower, it has this really bulky center, double colored. I simply took one of these and I bent all these little tabs up. And you can do this with any paper flower. You just simply manipulate it to make yourself happy. I then took all of these edges and I just brought them all to the center and I scrunched them up. And that made it look like, to me, a carnation, how they're all just scrunched up there. Then I added this in the center and put the darker color to come through the pink. I love layering paper flowers. I love manipulating them. I love inking the edges, making them stand out, making them 3-dimensional, making them puffy. I love making cards with paper flowers. So now I have a very 3-dimensional flower that only came from 2 flat ones. The other flower I did was I just simply took, I'm going to use the same color, I took one flat one in one color. I used my tool and I rounded it up, and I'm working from the back side so that I could, round those little sides up. And then I wanted a center, but I didn't want this outside. So I simply just tore it off. You can snip it off if you want, but with flowers, I don't mind the torn look. You're not going to really see it anyway. But I went around all the way, just tearing them off. I can use this for something else. After all, that was what the center was. And now I have this that's the same shape. for the inside. I just pull my little light pink ones up. Actually, I put a little foam tab between the two of them. I like doing that because it really gives them character. It makes them look more realistic. Adding a little ink to the edges of each petal also does the realistic look. So now I can pull the little pink ones to be on top of the darker pink, almost red. And I have another dimensional flower. And this one is basically just 2 flowers and one of the small flowers in the center on foam. So let's make our box. We also need some leaves. So we used a leaf punch, and there again, flat, boring, basic leaves. This time I took them to my scoring board and I put them on the line, scored them, and then folded them. And now I have a much more realistic leaf. So I did that on several ones, and you can fold them in half without scoring them. They just fold so much easier if you score them. And now I have leaves. Let's add some to our shadow box. We'll make sure we're on the top. Again, I like to use 3-dimensional foam. You can use circles or squares. It doesn't matter, you won't see it anyway. I always like to use 3 flowers or 1 big flower and multiple little flowers. I never like to just use 2 for the focal point. It's a personal preference, something that everybody gets to have creative expression with. So now I have 3 flowers. I want to add some yellow in here because I feel like I need to bring that yellow out since I used it as a background. So I'm going to take 3 of the little flowers. I'm going to give them some shape. And I'm just putting it between the tool and my thumb and rounding it up. Then I'm going to take a dot and place it on here, kind of in between the other flowers. And again, you don't have to use circles, you can use squares. They make these in all different shapes and sizes. You can even get these at the Dollar Tree. And let's do one more. I do need to shape him up a little. No flower goes on anything flat. There's 100 ways to make paper flowers. I love them all. If you guys want to see more paper flowers, comment. Make sure you comment so that you can let me know. So now I've got some yellow to kind of pull out that yellow. So now I have to add my little leaves. The best way to add my leaves is with glue. And one of the things I like to do is just add a little glue, because this is kind of like wax paper that I'm pulling these off of. So this isn't going to hurt anything. But now I can add the glue to the back end of the leaf and put it anywhere I want it. I can use my scoring tool to hold it down to make sure he gets to where I want him to be and that he gets pushed down. You can add as little or as much when it comes to leaves. You could add a ton, you can add 1 or 2. I always feel like the more the merrier. But now I don't have a flat, boring box. I have a nice 3-dimensional. But wait, we're missing something. We gotta have some sparkle. So one of the things I am very partial to is rhinestones. I love my little sparkles. So much so, guys, I get these in my Christmas stocking from my husband every year. because it's one of the few things he knows he can go and buy and that I never get tired of. So we are going to add some pink sparkle to all of these. Yes, they do fly. And now let's check that box out. It doesn't do it justice in the camera, guys, but if you could really see how three-dimensional this looks, how it looks like there is just flowers laying on top of this box, it looks great. On the inside, we have our yellow background with our pen. We're going to have some pretty button magnets later. This is going to make a great little gift for someone. Tell me what you think. Guys, we used the Works scoring board. We used the We Are Memory Keepers Shadow Box punch board, which is a new item. We used some very old paper punches that have seen better days, but they still punch great. So let me know what you think. Come to my Facebook page so that you can get the printout and make all the fun size boxes. Also, make sure you subscribe because there's going to be a lot more boxes and a lot more fun. It's Christmas in July for only a few more days. Make sure you check out all my videos, and as always, guys, happy crafting.